I used to struggle with anxiety and depression so badly that at one point I really lost the desire to carry on. What I didn't know then was that my delayed food allergies, and in my case that was gluten, was fueling much of the symptoms that I was experiencing. And I want to share my story with you because if food could play a role in my mental health, then maybe it's a piece of your puzzle too. Today I'm going to talk about one overlooked cause of suicidal ideation that doesn't get discussed very often. That's the nutritional connection. We'll take a look at how hidden food sensitivities can trigger depression and anxiety, the surprising nutritional deficits that can come along with them, and the results that you don't want to miss. Now, this video comes with a disclaimer. I am a certified mental health nutrition coach, but I'm not a doctor or a therapist, so this video is for education only. It's not designed to diagnose or treat. And most importantly, if you or someone you love is struggling with thoughts of suicide, please call or text 988 in the US for immediate support. You're not alone, and hope is available. For years, I lived with crushing anxiety attacks and waves of depression. They'd seem to come out of nowhere. I'd be in the middle of a normal day, I'd be with my family at an event, and suddenly I'd be overwhelmed with panic. I'd be sweating, nauseated, and absolutely frightened to death. And what I didn't realize at the time was that gluten, not just bread or pasta, but the stuff hidden in sauces and condiments and healthy foods, even my communion at church, was triggering an immune response and inflammation that was reaching my brain. My tests didn't show celiac, but my delayed food allergies were causing panic attacks, depression, anxiety, and a sense of hopelessness. And here's the thing, no one was talking about it. All of the focus was on my emotions, my stress, my personality, even the medications I needed to take. But no one was asking me whether or not food was playing a role. So here's what's happening behind the scenes. Delayed food allergies don't usually cause an immediate reaction like hives or anaphylaxis. Instead, they set off this slow burning inflammation. It's an ongoing fire inside the body, and it doesn't just stay inside your gut, it crosses over into your brain. That inflammation disrupts our neurotransmitters like our serotonin and our dopamine, the brain chemicals that regulate our mood, our calm, and our motivation. So for me, gluten didn't really cause a stomachache as much as it caused anxiety attacks and depression. And it looked like a mental health crisis on the outside, but food was a massive part of that trigger. There's another piece of this that often gets missed, and that's nutritional deficiencies. When your body is reacting to foods like gluten, it can actually damage the gut lining and interfere with the nutrient absorption, and over time that can lead to low levels of our key nutrients that are critical for our brain health. For example, we need B vitamins, especially folate, B12, vitamin B6. They're needed for making serotonin and dopamine. If our iron levels get low, it can leave you fatigued and foggy, it can interfere with thyroid function. If magnesium and zinc are off, then both of those support our calm and our resilience. When our nutrients are depleted, your brain simply doesn't have the raw materials it needs to keep your mood stable. So it's not just the immune response from the gluten, it's also what your body's missing out on because of the inflammation in your body. When I finally removed gluten from my diet, everything shifted. The anxiety attacks stopped. I'd had them for 7 years and they stopped in 7 days. My depression lifted. It was like my mind came back online. Now, let me be clear, food isn't the only factor behind depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts. Mental health can be complex. It might be your thyroid, it might be liver function, it might be your gut. But for me, discovering this piece of the puzzle gave me hope again. And hope is powerful. In the very beginning, I used to think that gluten was the problem for everyone, but that's just not the case, right? That's why I went back to school to learn all these things. For me, it was gluten, but for somebody else, it could be dairy or corn or oats or another food entirely. There isn't one single culprit for everyone. And that's why so many people try with an elimination diet. That's where I started. You remove the common trigger like gluten, dairy, corn, or soy in all of its components for several weeks, and then carefully reintroduce them to see how your body and your mood respond. So there's pros and cons to each of our approaches, and this pros to this one is that it's really inexpensive and it's very, very personalized. You can pick and choose what you want to take out. But it takes a lot of discipline, and sometimes the results are confusing, especially if your symptoms overlap. If you took out gluten, but not dairy, but you also have a dairy sensitivity, how do you know? But then there are also lab tests that can look for delayed food sensitivities, and I love this option. This gives us a really clear picture without weeks and weeks of guessing. The con here is that they're not usually covered by insurance, they can be expensive, but they do capture the whole story. So whether it's an elimination diet or lab testing or just simply paying closer attention to the patterns between what you ate and how you feel, the point is that food deserves a seat at the table in our mental health conversations. If you've ever wondered whether what's on your plate could be affecting how you feel, you are not alone. You're not imagining it either. Nutrition is one piece of the mental health puzzle, and it is often overlooked. You don't have to overhaul everything at once. Even one step, one change can bring about this clarity and calm and help you to feel more even-keeled and grounded in your day. If you want more information about the food-mood connection, then you can click on my link. And if you're struggling right now, again, I want to reiterate, please don't wait. Call or text 988. You're not alone, and there is hope.